What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
You know me, Chris. It's Wednesday. I'm here. It's time to rage.
Man, it is time to rage. And I know there's a certain company that's, man, this is breaking news. We're just finding this out 1 hour out. You know, it's just insane. Nintendo and Pokemon Company have filed a lawsuit against Pocket Pair, the creators of Power World in Tokyo, Japan. So what do you make of this news, HenricK? Because they're saying in the lawsuit, they claim that Power World infringed on multiple Pokemon patents and seeks damages.
Well, it's about time. I mean, everyone thought that this was going to happen months ago.
Yeah.
So they've probably just been building the case slowly and surely to know that they'll for sure get something out of them. And knowing Nintendo's track record, it's not looking too good for Pocket Pair.
Yeah, and what does that mean for the future of the company? Because I know even the creators have even discussed possibly turning that platform, into a live service game, potentially, looking at, the likes of, let's say, Fall Guys and how they transition. Well, this is another halt to any production moving forward. This is major, major breaking news, but we didn't have that plan for the show today, but trust me, we will definitely explore it even further as more information drops on next week's show of Rage Quit. But we always like to start off the show with the bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that is circulated all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. Streamer @ShakeMistake just conquered Skyrim's 7,000 steps to High Hrothgar on a treadmill, only to realize his knees took more damage than an NPC in a dragon attack.
I made the 7,000 steps in Skyrim more accurately sized and hiked up it with my incline treadmill. Here we go. I'm using an app called StepL in my phone in my pocket, and when I walk in real life, I walk in the game. I previously discovered that it only takes 2,500 steps to walk up to High Hrothgar, not 7,000, and everyone kept telling me that the Skyrim game world is much smaller than it is in the lore. So with some mods, I scaled myself down as much as possible without messing up my walking animations. And I inclined my treadmill as much as I could, and much to my surprise, it took 8,000 steps to get to the top of the mountain. So if you disregard any flat areas without an elevation change, it's pretty close to 7,000 steps. Check the full vid for more info. Guys, my glutes. 8,000!
Hi, Hrothgar. And, I remember going up that mountain the first time when I played Skyrim. It was an awesome experience. But I can't remember the last time I've actually played Skyrim and gone up the mountain the correct way. There's always been some other way that I've gone up, like taking a horse and, going up the side of the mountain, because the physics are just incredibly glitched in that game.
Well, that's why it was such a beautiful time.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
Skyrim came out. I didn't start thinking about this until watching this video again, because obviously, we know this video before you, the viewers, get to see it wherever you're at the comfort of your own home, or maybe you're on the bus or the Metrolink. We don't know. But hey, I got a recommendation for this streamer @ShakeMistake. Maybe his next treadmill VR experience should be the opening to Red Dead Redemption 2. In the mountains, and then he's got to lift that elevation just a little bit higher for that treadmill. What do you say, HenricK?
Yeah, that would be a great idea. I think that this whole, because I've seen actually a few videos of people doing this at this point. I think the whole idea of, strapping a VR headset onto yourself, going into a game and doing some walking or maybe running, depending on what kind of person you're, willing to be at that moment. That is a great way to exercise and actually be more willing to do it, maybe.
Right, but let's dive right into the comments, because the very first one that we got here is, so he just walked a few kilometers and people are impressed. You guys ever go outside? Why are there always haters towards these kind of style of videos? Because
I just said this is a great way to exercise, because it is.
But these are the kind of same people that would probably still spend money to go to one of those VR interactive experiences if it was actually near your town or your city. But they'll be the same people that be quick to say, "Are you guys ever gonna go outside?" Waiting for the Elder Scrolls 6 makes men do crazy stuff. Yes, they do.
Someone will do this in Elder Scrolls 6 as well.
But what does that say about Skyrim and just the longevity of just a groundbreaking video game? It's just incredible.
Well, it says something about how much Bethesda is really willing to re-release the game, really.
Yeah, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And man walks on treadmill is news in 2024. What ever. You guys are all so lame. I thought that was very, very cool. I encourage you to try to take that Snow Mountain route next time on Red Dead Redemption 2. But let's go into the next clip, because in a wild twist of retro and tech, YouTuber Ancient just turned the original Doom into a 3D light show by creating a spinning LED display, because nothing says landmark in PC gaming like slaying demons in a hologram that looks like it escaped a sci-fi rave.
When they say Doom can be run on anything, they really mean it. People will go to great lengths just to play Doom on any sort of display like this.
Yeah, you nailed it. You actually took the words right out of my mouth. It's never Super Mario. It's always Doom. When it comes to innovation, what do we test first on? It's always got to be Doom. So let's dive right into the comments. I feel like I'm watching actual security camera footage from the Doom universe.
That is a good point right there. That is basically what I would imagine security footage would look like in that universe.
It honestly would be kind of a badass nightstand.
Yes,
if that was something that you
would.
could kind of turn on or put in your man cave or your gaming room, that's something I would want in my space. I really love how Doom has just become the standardized benchmark test for literally any and every technology we ever create and ever have created.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth?
And it will probably stay that way, I'd say.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And this is how people in the 70s, 80s, and 90s thought entertainment was going to look like in the future. I know, right?
Very true.
And then we get haters today that are like, hey, man, why aren't you outside right now? you can't have it both ways. It's crazy. But, like, get this, though, gamers. In the latest episode of What Nobody Asked For, we reported on the vaping industry's bizarre move to add video games to their devices. And now, for the true multitasker, there's a new game available in the restroom, so you can get high scores while getting that low-key minty fresh from the attendant. So,
I don't think anyone asked for this.
Yeah, absolutely. All I'm saying is, like, please don't be the person that does a 360 no scope. And I know that attendant that's in there, he does not want to clean it up after you're playing this game. I mean, what are we doing to the people that, like, I thought we respect the custodians out there, but the amount of piss that's going to end up on that screen will be outrageous.
True, yeah. You know, don't touch that.
Yeah, stay far away. Did you have a fun piss? Some bartender. Yeah, that would be kind of odd. And last, that awkward moment when the screen doesn't register. Yeah, you know, you're gonna have to stick it out one of these days. Stay true to yourself, young Padawan. Stay true to yourself. And HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll, my friend?
Oh yeah, and I know what time it is. It's time for pause or repeat.
Hey, let's get it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. This is a sequel to the first game that came out back in 2011. Because of the huge gap between games, some players may not have played the first. But will that make it more difficult for the game to succeed, or not really matter? To find out, let's start by going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Space Marine 2 is a mix of third-person shooter and hack-and-slash melee combat. You can see inspiration from Gears of War as well as Doom, especially as you rip apart enemies in glorious combat gore finishers. There are a handful of primary and secondary weapons to choose from, but melee combat is definitely required. Melee combat is effective at close ranges and has a simple combo system to weave in heavy attacks by holding the input in the middle of a combo. You are also able to parry attacks attacks and dodge out of the way of attacks you cannot parry, both indicated by glowing starbursts, blue and red respectively. Combat is a visceral experience, where the game puts you on the edge of death often if you are not careful due to the fact that you are heavily outnumbered. Luckily for you, you have 2 squad mates to help you in each mission, which can be played by your friends instead of the game's AI if you would like. Outside of the campaign missions, there is an operations mode that tells side stories in between campaign missions, and a PvP mode as well that is simple yet effective in delivering a decent experience outside of the story. But of course, we have to talk about the story considering this is Warhammer 40k. Since this is a Warhammer 40k game, you can expect that the lore behind everything is complex much more than the game explains. The game is also a sequel, which doesn't help that. However, the game doesn't keep new players out of the loop, and you can pick up things easily through context of dialogue and environments. To put things simply, you play as Titus, a character from the first game, in a conflict against the Tyranids, an insectoid alien species and seemingly unstoppable force. Titus is reassigned from the Death Watch to lieutenant of an Ultramarine squad fighting the Tyranids. Without going into spoilers, it is quickly realized that more is at stake than just the fight against the Tyranids. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
Fight on, brothers, for the Emperor! There's not a whole lot of games that make you want to say something like that. And I feel like the only other game that came out this year that made you want to have such high intensity conversations was Helldivers 2.
Both
what do you
sequels.
make of this game, Chris?
Oh man, Space Marines 2 is like a fever dream of every Xbox 360 fanboy where, you know, Gears of War meets Warhammer, and you get to decide whether you're going to blast your enemies with alien guns or give them that very personal chainsaw sword hug. So, HenricK, I mean, what do you vibe with the most? Do you like that melee combat action, or are you vibing with the alien gun warfare?
You know what? I always found myself enjoying more the melee combat than the shooting, but you have to really do both. And that, it feels a little weird at first. I'm not used to the whole having to, like, switch between them. It almost felt like it was made more for a controller, but I played this on keyboard and mouse, so, you know, I'm having to, you know, juggle
use your mouse
melee
scroll.
control.
That sounds like a skill issue. PC gamers complain.
I figured out, all right? It's not a skill issue if I figure it out, okay?
Oh, okay. But no, I feel you. Like, playing Space Marines 2 feels like being dropped into a chaotic war zone with more twists and turns than a roller coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain.
Yeah.
You
but
know?
That's the whole point of it. You know, you're thrown into the action right in even the first mission, and it just gets more and more intense from that first mission.
Yeah.
There's so many moments that I can look back on and be like, that was awesome.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
the
especially
fact that I went through all that and I survived was just, oh, that was awesome.
well, yeah, especially when you'll be hopping between different planets, dealing with plot twists, and of course, you know, your squad mates will start beefing at the worst possible moments and the most serious tone, because in the end, I gotta just say this, HenricK, we're so back, baby. No more woke malarkey, right? Everybody's like, where's the humor? Where's all the, you know, the gender norms? Where's all? No one cares. You're in war, baby. Like, the intensity's up there, and I think that's really, really cool. And, you know, another big gamble that they took was, forget the orcs from the old days. Now you're up against an alien army. And I mean, they come in every shape and size, from tiny nuanced swarms to the massive monsters that make Bigfoot look like a house cat. I mean, it's insane.
And the swarms are no, you know, thing to scoff at either. I mean, even from the first mission that I've seen so many people react to at this point, the moment that this huge swarm of Tyranids come in, everyone's like, oh, that's a lot. Do I have to fight that? Yes, you do. You are definitely fighting that right now.
Well, especially with the original game being almost a decade old, it's like jumping from a medieval fantasy to a sci-fi epic where the aliens don't just invade. They're coming out for cosmic revenge, and you feel that at every mission, every single mission. And, you know, I gotta, you know, you've got these alien worlds that look like someone let a kid loose in a paint section. I mean, they're just beautiful. And then you get these random environments, HenricK, that like have these gothic buildings that are so moody they make your emo phase look like sunshine. If you know what I'm saying. So, like,
yeah, I mean, that's just the Warhammer 40k universe, though. As much futuristic stuff as there is, there's always like that gothic influence, even down to the whole religious aspect of the Space Marines mantra.
Yeah.
Being like, in the first mission, they'll be like, all right, now the personnel can start prayers of channeling. It's like, what?
Yeah,
Why are we doing
right.
prayers? This is not what I expected, but it's just what they do, you know?
And it felt cool because you felt like with the art design, they didn't feel like they were held obligated to keep to like some certain centric idea. Like they really explore different environments throughout the game. And for a squad-based shooter where you start with bots as your teammates, you know, it's cool. You know, I love features like that. You know, you definitely have your digital entourage who are slightly more reliable than your average NPC. You know what I mean? They'll help you fend off the enemies. They'll even help you get you up when you're down. Because let's face it, when you're wearing that heavy armor, you're going to take a face plant. But I don't know. I still felt like even though you have those NPCs, HenricK, it's always better to replace those bots with friends. And I think that was an amazing
100%.
feature that Space Marines 2 brought to this video game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is a game that you will have an endless amount of replayability with friends, so long as you have people to play with, because, you know, that's always a struggle for some games, as well as actually getting someone to join you in it. But if you have the opportunity, it's definitely a game that does benefit from having that squad-based, you know, with your friends instead of the AI, because, yeah, the AI can be reliable, but
it's a way different experience.
Some real stupid stuff, because they're not perfect. They're not a person. I mean, you know, it's one thing for that to be your friend doing something stupid. Then you can at least call them out on it.
Yeah.
Right. What are you walking into the wall for, man? Are you okay?
Yeah, what the hell is going on? And I really do like the different weapon classes from Imperial and, you know, the alien weaponry, because it definitely feels like a blast from the past. You know, you get to customize your loadout in between missions with primary weapons. You get a side piece and a close combat gadget. You also get to find different weapon caches throughout different missions. I thought they were really, really cool. I don't know what was your favorite. Was it a flamethrower? Was it a plasma blaster? Was it sniper rifles? Or let me guess, I'm assuming because you said it earlier, was it the power swords?
I did really, really enjoy the chain sword. That was probably my favorite melee weapon until I get, you know, the actual big hammer. Then I was rocking that. But when it comes to the weapons, once I picked up that melt-a-gun for the first time, I was like, I see why this is called the melt-a-gun, because it melts.
Yeah, and
enemies.
I can see why it's in front of me, because it always feels like it's like, yeah, that gun seems cool, but I kind of like the one I have right now. And it's like, no, it's the game's way of trying to tell you, you might want to have this right now.
Yeah, and that flamethrower was also really cool, especially they give it to you right before you have a couple segments where you have to basically fight off against a huge room of just like rats.
Yeah.
And the flamethrower is your way of fighting against them and making a pathway. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that. They're like, you need this.
Yeah,
like you said,
it's definitely a bombastic, you know, video game experience. Definitely with the gameplay. You know, let's not forget the explosives with the sticky bombs and shock grenades and so much more. But just even performing executions not only makes you look like a total badass, but also, you know, regenerates your shields. And I find that to be a really, really cool factor in the game, because it's like, how do I revive my health bar? Well, forget running for cover. Just smack your enemies around. And I think that's a really, really cool way of just really continuing, you know, the gun gameplay throughout the game, because they're like, we don't want you to hide.
It's the whole thing that Doom and Doom Eternal did, the newer ones, Doom 2016 and Eternal, where you're not meant to be hiding in the corner, you know, doing pot shots at enemies. You go in and you rip them apart, and that's how you get your health or armor back. I mean, granted, that's a much more fast-paced game, and you know, you're playing as a enemy to the demons in that game that they fear you. Whereas in this game, they don't really fear you in the same way, but that whole concept is a really good thing to take advantage of when you're playing real big dudes who can rip enemies in half, because that just makes you want to be in the midst of everything as the chaos is going on.
And just like how you said, real big dudes. And, you know, I know you were just talking a little bit just now about how, like, sometimes playing on the PC felt a bit clunky, but I think that's part of the charm, HenricK. I mean, if you were wearing that armor, I'd probably feel like I was trying to juggle like a fridge while running a marathon. So really, the clunky controls just make you feel more immersed. I would argue that, because I can imagine, you know, trying to haul all that heavy gear.
That's true, yeah.
Mission after mission. So
I mean,
that
these guys are,
is awesome.
you know, not your average human. They're much taller than them and bigger and bulkier and augmented as much as they can be. But still, yes, when you have that much on you, you're gonna be a little more awkward to control. That is true. You're right.
Yeah, because some people might feel like that kind of game mechanic kind of feels a little outdated, but I would argue I think that was meant to be on purpose. And you know, I'm riveting over this game. I think it's an excellent game. I really felt like they really just focused on trying to make the best gaming experience possible. Yeah, there is quite a story there, but you know, it's nothing like, oh my gosh, spectacular. But they do, you know, add on, you know, to explore the lore of, you know, the sequel, especially with like operations and, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm having a brain fart on the other game mode right now. Eternal
PvP
Wars.
game mode?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's different ways where you can kind of, you know, further explore, especially when it's the PvP like you just referenced right now. So I'm going to go out right now and say it's a repeat. You're going to have a lot of fun. So if you're looking for a game jumping right into fall and, you know, anticipating, you know, the winter, you know, time to be indoors, you know, I think this game is for you. What do you say, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh, this is a definite repeat for me as well. I mean, the PvP, I could see that maybe dying off and, you know, not really being that active in the next couple of years, but the story missions, you could always hop into that with some friends and have some fun. I feel like that'll last for a very long time. And this is also a great opportunity for people who haven't really gotten into Warhammer 40K to actually take a closer look at it and see what it's all about, because it does a great job of introducing you to that. And that's a huge lore universe to hop into. And it's a shame that we don't get as much media from it that we maybe should, because
it's like what
a
we
lot
said,
of people would enjoy.
It's like what we said in patch notes like last week. You know, Sony always kind of struggling with their own IP, you know, having, you know, to step in and cancel Concord. And they're like, what do we got? What do we got? Well, hey, people, look at this is like an amazing success story. You know, this was an original IP that was over a decade ago, and you got Killzone and you got Resistance out there. And it's like, why don't you just explore that still? People will come back to it. And clearly this is a successful win. And so you heard it from HenricK the Wreck and Chris Collins himself, baby. We're both saying it's a repeat. So what are you waiting for, gamers? Jump along for the ride for Space Marines 2. But
Jump in and fight for the Emperor.
That's right. But hey, we want to let you guys know we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show, so stick around, baby. But HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely. Let's get it.
Let's get it, baby. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Annapurna Interactive, known for indie gems like Stray and Outer Wilds, might be on the brink of becoming a cautionary tale. According to Bloomberg and IGN, the entire staff just quit after their pitch to spin off into a new company fell flat. Turns out, convincing Megan Ellison to let them go was harder than convincing a cat to play fetch. So gamers reacted to the news with the following. We got Annapurna's entire staff quitting before GTA 6.
The classic comment that you see nowadays.
Always. The entire staff says a lot. Yeah, I mean, but then again, you know, the staff is 25 people. I mean, when I first heard the news, I was like, wow, there must be a lot of people. But still, that's still a statement, you know.
It definitely is. And you know, coming from someone who, you know, I organized some 40-man and 25-man raids in World of Warcraft, I will say that organizing 25 people to be on the same page is not an easy task.
Yeah.
So it does say volumes. Something.
Absolutely. Sounds like corporate tried to take over and the workers quit. Good on them if that's the case. The next comment is, no, does this mean no sequel to Stray? Well, I'm assuming it's still on board because after all, they did make that announcement that it's going to have its own movie adaptation. So
That's
I don't
true.
see why they would stop making a sequel because it definitely left off on a cliffhanger. The next comment, the video game industry is becoming greedy every day. Hello, profit makes video games. And last, they just announced their collab with Remedy for making an Alan Wake and Control TV series. So I hope that didn't lead to this issue. I think it possibly
that's not a good
did.
look, considering that just happened. That they had that announcement.
So, HenricK, like, what do you make of the news that Annapurna Interactive's entire staff resigned after their pitch to spin off into a new company didn't fly?
Well, I hope that the company has some future planned for that whole, staff leaving. But I also hope that the staff does have an idea of where to go next, because it's one thing to say, hey, I want to, quit this job. But if you don't get hired somewhere else, then, oh, man, that sucks, too. And it is very telling that they had that announcement that they're going to be collaborating with Remedy to have these huge TV series created based on their IPs. And then for some reason, their idea for a spinoff internally doesn't go well. So are they really treating their staff well? I don't know. That begs the question for that.
But then you can also argue that they already came out and said, like, we were gonna, do a movie still with Stray. We've heard about this news, I believe, back in 2022. So with Annapurna Pictures. And also keep in mind too, these are different divisions between Annapurna. Like Annapurna Interactive is basically the video game division. And so when it comes to Annapurna Pictures, the company's film arm has won countless awards for a variety of films. You might have heard them, gamers, including Her, American Hustle, and Zero Dark 30. So the company had only been expanding its ambitions alongside its video game publishing hot streak, but now it's kind of taken a halt, which is pretty remarkable. And so considering now that, 25 hardworking members of Annapurna Interactive team collectively resigned. And we know this because the former president, Nathan Gray, and staffers told Bloomberg and then followed up by IGN. And they also said too, HenricK, because I'm curious on what you think about this. They also said, quote, "This was one of the hardest decisions we have ever had to make, and we did not take this action lightly," end quote. So, there's definitely some inner line that we don't really know, or do we know?
Yeah, there's definitely more to this that we may not ever know, or maybe won't know until like a long time has passed, because there's a lot of things that must have happened behind the scenes that we just don't see in these articles because no one's maybe even able to talk about it. Maybe they're under NDA.
Right, exactly. Or they probably just didn't get the funding that Annapurna Pictures is going to be pushing forward now with their close ties with Remedy Entertainment, especially with the new Alan Wake series and the Control series. And so they probably were like, wow, you guys are just willing to throw out all that money just to be able to develop their games, but what about us? And so they felt like maybe the focus was not driven towards them, and they felt like, maybe we can be our own indie studio without the backing of them. Can we just go with our product? And they said no. All that IP, all that, copyright material, that all sticks with us. And so we're not going to let you have it and we know this because Annapurna spokesperson told Bloomberg that existing games and projects will remain under the company. And so that's, very revealing. So, Annapurna's plan to integrate its in-house gaming operations with the rest of Annapurna's division, which includes film, TV, and theater, but now it's all ending. So what do you, the gamers, make of this? Is this some malarkey, or do you feel like, these 25 members have every right to call for a new company push to, steer away from them? Or did you feel like, in the end, this is just the right move? And I actually really want to see a Control TV series or an Alan Wake movie.
It would be really cool. But
did you want both?
Yeah, both would have been nice. But maybe at this point then, as a last note, maybe in the future we'll see that the staff that left will actually go and make their own studio and make some new IP And they'll probably do a great job if they do that, considering they're the ones that worked on the things that Annapurna are keeping.
Yes, so true. But HenricK, let's go ahead and start segue into a new topic of conversation. Break it down.
In a plot twist that sounds like it's straight out of a crime drama, Italian police have dismantled a video game trafficking ring after seizing fake retro consoles and games worth nearly $55 million.
That's
This
crazy.
is a big operation. These pirated knockoffs were so dodgy, they made the fake Nintendo, Sega, and Atari look like high-end luxury items.
Yeah, they really
And
did.
the cops confiscated around 12,000 consoles packed with over 47 million pirated games, proving that even counterfeiters have a serious commitment to, quote, gaming on a budget.
Yeah, because they're basically emulators, you know? They're pirated games.
Yeah.
They're like knockoffs. I mean, what? I didn't know retro gaming was still a thing.
It's like the whole advertisement you sometimes can see on Amazon of like 12,000 games included on this one SD card.
Man, that
and you
thing's
put
been
this
going on
SD
for
card
like
into your
10
computer
years.
and that's it.
Yeah, like my dad worked in the pool table industry, so we were always selling like those, you know, like the golf machines, you know, with the ball and then the joystick on it. They would all be loaded up with all kinds of different games. I wonder if they bypass some certain, you know, naughty stuff. But hey, you know, should we dive into the comments?
Yeah, we've got comments, you know, because gamers did respond to the news.
Yeah, because, I mean, $55 million is a lot of money. And so the first comment that we got here is, sounds like emulator all-in-one knockoff consoles. Counting the number of games by multiplying for each console seized is a bit silly, though. But I suppose it's necessary legal calculation for determining the number of license that were obtained or something. Yeah, I mean, all very good points, but like, I guess some people would argue, like, why is this like the main focus for Italian police is to go after, you know, this, this company? Some would argue it's because it was all made in China and they all had very faulty batteries that didn't apply with the EU standard. The next comment we got here is, it's weird because they're calling them counterfeit consoles, but no one is going to think it's the real thing. They're knockoffs with bundled games. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I mean, at first when this story was reported, it did kind of feel a bit manipulating, but like, it's crazy how many people want that one go-to system to play all their favorite retro games. I mean, come on, we were talking about, remember the phones?
Yeah.
You know, iOS devices
Even if it's
finally
not
getting on with
manipulative,
Android.
though, it is illegal for them to be doing this.
Yeah. In India, these 1,000 games in one consoles have flooded the market. They are pushing them on Amazon and Instagram through ads and SEO manipulation. Since most people here grew on Family clones and NES clones, never had official Nintendo presence, even today, they have no idea how legit products looks like. So, I mean, that's a, interesting perspective. Next one we have here is likely just a single board computer running RetroArch, not imitating any console in particular. Yeah, that's kind of what I was suggesting with a lot of these like arcade cabinets, that would have the
it's not very hard to
game.
do even yourself, like just grab a Raspberry Pi and then there's tutorials online on how to do it. It's not very hard.
Yeah, exactly. And so, the writer seems confused about this. A lot of it implies they were fake consoles intended to fool the buyers into believing they were genuine. But real retro consoles don't hold thousands of games. So clearly that's not what was happening. So, people are like, wow, I can't believe that this is going to be something that could potentially have these people jailed for 9 years in prison. The next comment we got here is, laughing my ass off. They broke up a bunch of bootlegs and tallied up 50 million because of how much the actual thing sells for on eBay. That's great, I guess. So, some people feel like maybe, the Italian police should have put their focus somewhere else. And last, they are facing 9 years in prison each due to their bootlegs. Italian police are not known for being fun, but wow. And then another person followed up, a guy stabbed a cop in Rome is going to house arrest. I highly doubt these people will face 9 years in prison. So, it's just remarkable how something like this could even happen in the first place, HenricK. And
it feels like a lot of people are like, come on, cops, there's more important things to be working on here than this.
Yeah, so do you feel the same sentiment that the whole situation might be a bit blown out of proportions considering the scale of the crackdown on these retro gaming bandits with $55 million in fake consoles and games?
Well, it's one of those situations, just like with all the emulation topics that we've talked about, where you shut this down, another thing's going to pop up in its place. It's like trying to kill a Hydra. You cut off one head, two more pop up in its place, because that's probably what's going to happen here. Whoever they're selling to is still going to maybe want that product. So someone's going to come and see that there's a place to fill in the market, and they're going to fill that place by selling consoles to those people that are not legitimate, but they're going to be filling that market by doing that. And now you have another crime ring, or maybe a couple of them doing the same thing. So it's one of those things that's like, it's not hard to stop individual people, but it's hard to stop the concepts of it.
Right. And I know that, again, a lot of the things that they were saying about a lot of the problematic, elements that came to this whole heist, I guess you could say, or these big gaming bandits that were selling these, fake retro consoles and games, by the way. I mean, they did say that they found certain games that were knockoffs of Mario Bros, Street Fighter, and Star Wars, all from the 80s and 90s. But they all said they were all from China. They were imported to be sold in specialized shops or online. All the devices were fitted with non-certified batteries and electrical circuits and did not meet the EU technical or safety standards. So that's why they're saying they started really investigating, this gaming industry, and we'll see whether it, trickles down into China. Probably not. I mean, if you're in the country of Italy, you are most likely screwed. So if found guilty, they face up to 8 to 9 years in prison. And, like I said at the top, I didn't even realize how massive retro gaming is, but just look at TikTok alone. Hashtag retro gaming has amassed more than 170 million posts. Not likes, posts.
And that's things like that trending is why places like GameStop have been trying to do their retro gaming push. And it's not really been necessarily successful, but it is a thing that these companies are seeing as a trending topic amongst gamers, and also the up and coming generation that's growing up on social media, seeing the older games, and they're like, I want to play that. But then they look at the cost of playing these games on original hardware, and it's like, okay, I can't do that. I can't spend thousands of dollars for the console and the games, because that's what they're going for.
Absolutely. You're making an excellent point, because just to put this in perspective, just to wrap this thing up, in 2021, a sealed copy of a video game, Super Mario 64, sold at an auction for more than $1.5 million. Shattering records. So yes,
and granted, I mean, that's massive. A sealed copy of it, so that makes its value go up more. But look at any retro console and try to find one that's working, and then also try to find games, especially the rarer games. You're looking at least a few $100s, which sounds ridiculous considering that some of these retro consoles going for that price are from like the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they shouldn't be that much money, but they are. People collect them.
It sounds ridiculous, but then it seems like there's even a reemergence of hobby and trading cards all over again. I feel like I'm seeing that more and more often. You see it on TikTok, people opening up Pokemon cards for people, whether it's MLB, whether it's your favorite NFL or UFC player. I mean, it's incredible. And now retro gaming. Wow, that's insane. But HenricK, are you ready to jump into the next topic of conversation? Because that's an incredibly highly profitable sector in the gaming industry. But this new information that's coming out, wow, gamers.
If you didn't think that microtransactions made money, stay tuned real quick.
That's right.
Blizzard Entertainment's Diablo 4 has raked in over $1 billion since its release. But you won't find this eye-watering number on their official website. Instead, Harrison Broschk, I believe that's how you said it, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments.
Yeah, right.
The senior product manager casually dropped the info on his LinkedIn profile like it was just another day at the office.
Yeah.
As we can see, we do have the little post
Yeah, no,
it.
this is legit. I mean, this is wild. But I mean, does anybody see what that first bullet point is saying?
Yeah, because who knew career updates could double as financial revelations? Looked like
Yeah.
Roche's LinkedIn just became the hottest spot for gaming industry gossip.
Well, especially when
course.
you look at this. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off right there.
You're good. You're good. But I mean, of course, with such big numbers being thrown out there, gamers react to news like that. And we have comments.
Games like Diablo 4 and Fortnite that sells lots of cosmetic stuff, but still put most of their development time into the gameplay, don't bother me as much. My issue are games like Overwatch or Call of Duty, which release their game and then only develop new cosmetics to sell and never really add anything to the gameplay. Edit. Perhaps Overwatch isn't a good negative example, as I'm seeing it gets a lot of support now, but I haven't played it since a few months ago, or months after 2 released, and at that point, it was very fitting to my example, so apologies to Overwatch fans. Screw them if they get offended. But you understand the point. I was trying to make even if the game no longer applies. Let's go into another one here, because I know a lot of people had a lot of things to say about, $150 million made just in microtransactions. This comment says, game is so much worse for it, but yay, stakeholders. Followed up by, should you blame the stakeholders or the idiots who buy them? Yeah, we've been kind of saying it for a while. We have a lot of idiots. Sometimes it's us. We're kind of gaming idiots. We like to admit that here and there. If people want to spend their money on Diablo cosmetics, that's really up to them. I don't get all the hate for this kind of stuff. It becomes a problem once the gameplay suffers due to the developers being so focused on cosmetics. This doesn't seem to be the case with Diablo 4, at least not at the moment, so people are fine with it. Yeah, I mean, I still I know a lot of people to this day that love Diablo 4. And, they can be making fun of that, the horse. I forgot how much they wanted for
$60 horse.
Yeah, that was ridiculous, and it should be laughed upon.
But
that doesn't
the
still
funny
ruin
thing
the
is that
game
is
experience.
not the worst example of a microtransaction not being a microtransaction, because I know for a fact there's a League of Legends cosmetic that is $500. It's one skin for a character.
Yeah, it's like where people actually go on the hunt for the Counter-Strike weapon skins too. It's like, what are we doing? But then we have another person here that goes, about 15% of that amount came from microtransactions. I believe this makes your title slightly misleading. That's, relating to the original article that broke this piece. And the guy goes, edit, oh, that is their title. Shame on them. So he kind of had to catch himself before he wrecked himself inside that Reddit thread. And for a game that supposedly blundered in a major way, they did just fine on the money. So did Diablo Immortal, which is very true. Got a lot
or
of
as some people call it, Diablo Immoral, based on how much money that made off of microtransactions, and it really was pushing you towards buying them, which really is what people complain about a lot. Is when people are seeing the numbers like this, how much incentive is that for the developers to push the microtransactions in your face and say, if you don't get this, you are an idiot. You don't play this game unless you pay microtransaction fees.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're trying to say.
Absolutely. And you're all weak, pathetic fools. You cry foul and fork over billions of dollars to game company that's screwing you over. Or maybe, just maybe, Reddit is a vocal minority and the rest of us never cried foul on Diablo 4. So yeah, I mean, these are all really, really juicy stuff. And so HenricK, with Diablo 4 pulling in over $1 billion in revenue, including $150 million from microtransactions, and the first expansion, Vessel of Hatred, set to drop on October 8th, do you think it was a bit odd that this major revenue milestone was revealed on a LinkedIn profile rather than through Blizzard's official channels?
I mean, this is usually how the industry finds out about things like this, is not the official channel. It's always like a LinkedIn post, or someone leaks something on accident. Yeah. And at that point, the cat's out of the bag. So everyone knows what's going on then. And I don't think it's super surprising that they have made this much money off of Diablo 4, because it is the biggest Diablo game ever. People can say, oh, I really, really like Diablo 3, or I really, really like Diablo 2 more than Diablo 4, but when you look at the numbers and how many people bought it at launch, especially, it tells a story that a lot of people were either really hyped for the game and then lost interest, or they're still really hyped for the game. And the microtransactions do tell that they're still really hyped for the game.
Really hyped for the game.
This amount of money doesn't come from one or two people. It comes from several thousand people at the very least.
Oh, absolutely. Those are eye-watering numbers, and they shouldn't be surprising given that Diablo 4 is Blizzard's fastest-selling game of all time. And so, people might be really pissed off, like, holy cow, $150 million made in microtransactions? That's ridiculous. But then at the same time, that's actually kind of cool for Blizzard. I know I'm a big hater on cosmetics and all that kind of stuff. I think it's just stupid. That's not something that I personally put my money into. But hey, if that's something that you want to do to support the studio, or if you just think it's genuinely badass and cool and you want that in your arsenal, by all means, you do you, gamers. But think of it also like this, as like a positive. $150 million goes into that next project, that next future IP, that next future adaptation to the next Diablo 5 if they so choose to go down that route. I mean, we were just talking about like The Last of Us, like in the beginning of the year, when we were breaking down some of those leaked reports, like Horizon Forbidden West costing up to $200 to $300 million. They just got the profit for their next video game through microtransactions. That is insane. So, as much as people can be really clowning studio companies for going down these microtransaction routes, because we always base it upon the likes of Fortnite, free-to-play games. Mm-hmm. And when we see our, $70 games go down this route, we're like, what the freaking hell, man? You already have $1 billion. What more do you need? Well, there you have it. And so...
And I, to bring up one of those comments, the first one, I believe it was, he actually did make a good point. And it's the whole thing of, it's a little more acceptable when the company is asking for microtransactions to be made from the community, and then they actually put that money towards the game's development, as opposed to, there's plenty of games out there that don't really do very much in terms of the development, and they're just sitting on their laurels and making money anyways.
Yeah.
So I can commend Blizzard as much as, we can hate on some of the things that they do. At least they do support their games to some extent and do a halfway decent job for the majority of them in terms of that.
Yeah. I mean, and so it's just incredible. And again, Diablo 4's first expansion, Vessel of Hatred, is due on October 8th. So if you're still immersed in that world, I'm sure you're going to be very, very excited coming for the spooky season next month. But you know what, HenricK? I'm going to have to do this to you because, this is kind of a first. This is kind of a first during the show. You kind of took my lead there, buddy. That was supposed to be my topic. That was supposed to be my topic that I let in you.
That is true, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's only fair that I'm going to take this lead from you. Is that okay from you? Can I do that?
Yeah. That's fine.
No, I love it. I think it's fun. That's the beauty in the natural live environment that we got going with Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So let's get right on into it in patch notes. The latest trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows set in feudal Japan has some folks questioning Ubisoft's practice, thanks to a flood of overly enthusiastic comments on YouTube. Hey, does this kind of look eerie? Because viewers noticed a swarm of freshly minted accounts praising the trailer's visuals with eerie uniformity, like a bot army with a flair for historical accuracy, it seems like. Complete with suspiciously highlight counts that scream algorithmic affection. So gamers flooded the trailer with comments about the following. So let's go ahead and dive into those comments, because is it a bot army or were these actually genuine human interactions? Ubisoft, how fake do you want the comments to be? Investor, yes.
As long as it looks good on paper.
Exactly. So we could show to our stakeholders.
Yeah.
Imagine being a quadruple A company and needing to do bot comments. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. You guys noticing the pretty girl bots defending Ubisoft are all created a month apart? Yeah, I think people need to understand too, it's not hard. It's really not hard to buy views. It's not hard to buy fake comments, and it's not hard to buy fake likes. It's not only a problem on YouTube, it's also a problem on Instagram and Twitter
Yep.
and all that stuff. And, you know, if you
Go
want
into any comment section on any social media platform, go to a video that has a lot of views, and you will see some bot comments.
exactly. And all these bot comments from first name, last name, number with 5K likes is so transparent. Ubisoft must be real down bad to boost the image of this game. And let's go into another one. As a robot myself, I find it terribly offensive that Ubisoft would appropriate my culture for their financial gain. You know what?
These are the kind of comments that I live for.
Exactly. And last, please declare bankruptcy. Ubisoft is dead. Going from Unity to this is criminal. So people are not taking it, you know, lightly. They're really going after Ubisoft. So HenricK, given the recent flood of eerily similar comments on Assassin's Creed Shadows World trailer and the suspiciously high like counts that feel a bit too bot-tastic, what do you make of Ubisoft's apparent love for their own trailer? Are they just like really too into themselves with their self-promotion, or is this the new form of digital hype?
Maybe they had to hide that gliding horse with comments.
Oh, yeah, the first 30 seconds in doing the
there
moonwalk.
is a gliding horse. It's like doing the Michael Jackson moonwalk
Yeah, right.
sort of thing. It's a weird movement. Maybe they'll fix that though.
Yeah,
But, you know,
right.
at the end of the day, we don't really know if this is Ubisoft doing the bots or if this is some other company trying to sabotage them and make them look bad. Or it could just be someone with a lot of money saying, haha, I'm going to throw this money away and make them look really bad right now, make it look like they have bots that they're paying for to make their things look good.
Yeah,
We don't know.
That's actually a really, really good point. I know like a lot of people raised suspicion with these comments when they were coming out from accounts that appeared to follow an unusual and repetitive naming structure. And so, yeah, you start to wonder like, yeah, is that like the first train of thought? It's like, wow, did Ubisoft really just buy, comments just to kind of, build the algorithm up so it actually shows up on the home feed for gamers that are engaged in this kind of style of content? I think I'm kind of with you. I think this is what you're saying is like, why would they do that? Like that would basically hurt their own YouTube channel in a sense, because if you start to get hit with too many bots.
Other ways to get to the front page, even, involving yourself in controversy is a little less damning than this, because this just doesn't look good, whereas with controversy, you get involved in the controversy, but so many people forget about controversy. And even the ones that do, they're still giving you engagement on your platform.
But it still raises questions, though. Like, no one knows whether it was actually Ubisoft that stepped in, or did Ubisoft contact YouTube, or did YouTube act on its own to remove these comments? Because, they garnished over 3,000, 5,000 likes, and then all of a sudden these comments just mysteriously are not being found on the, Assassin's Creed Shadows World trailer. So that kind of makes you wonder, did the studio feel like they needed to act upon this as fast as they can so, they don't get like blackballed, in a sense? But then, HenricK, this isn't the first time Ubisoft has faced such accusations. Viewers also noticed that, this similar pattern was happening during the release of Star Wars Outlaws story trailer in April. So that's why some people are like, what is going on? Like, is this an actual tactic that they do in PR? No one really knows, but, Ubisoft is really pushing strong. I know they got a lot of backlash for, stealing certain people's artwork and putting it in the game. Remember they accused the sword from being from One Piece. There was also,
and they put it in like a event venue or something.
They've
been doing a lot of missteps. Yeah, honestly, from my perspective, this is not something they needed to do, because there's already going to be a lot of people viewing the video just to hate it. So there's going to be plenty of engagement from all the things that they've already done as a misstep.
There's also still people that are like excited to still play it anyways. Like, I know for myself, I still want to play it, but I do hear all the outside voices. We see your comments online, and and there's people that are going, wow, like they still couldn't even nail the the Japanese atmosphere. They're adding like Chinese lore or just the environment,
or things in the
inside the game.
Wrong season. For example, like different flora that's not in the same season that they're trying to portray, things like that people point out. doesn't really matter at the end of the day, something as small as that to the average gamer. But people are pointing things out like that because they're just, trying to hate on the game.
Yeah, and again, the reason why I was getting the hate is, some people were not pleased, especially we reported on it, a couple shows back, the people in Japan were very, very upset that they finally got, a video game in the Assassin's Creed series that's finally highlighting their culture, and then they chose to decide to take it upon two different leads, a Japanese woman ninja and a black samurai. And so whether how you feel, I don't really give a shit. I think we can only judge it until the game is out, and then we can really fully assess whether we feel like they did it justice or not, because, that whole Yasuke, that's a whole different conversation that we've already explored. You can check it out on a previous episode. We won't do that again, but just to highlight, Ubisoft will launch Assassin's Creed Shadows on November 12th, 2024 for PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC. But man, HenricK, this has been such a badass show, and we can't thank you, the gamers, for always tuning in live every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, because without your guys' support, this show would not be possible. And while we're at the end of the show, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And HenricK, let them know what's good.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that QR code as well. Go to my YouTube channel, and I would like you, if you're a Warhammer fan, to go watch the video that I posted. It's a meme I posted on Monday. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, I mean, you're always cooking up a lot of funny shit. And again, let's, support content creators, support us. We always love you guys for it. And we got a lot of amazing things always cooking up. And we will see you next week on Wednesday, live at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time on Twitch, on Meta, or YouTube. We'll see you next time. Peace.
See ya.